Had a fantastic office hours with Master IEP coaches. For those of you that don't know, I'm the founder of the Master IEP Coach Mentorship and Network. And every week I'm working live online in a private kind of office hours session, helping parents, teachers, admins, and therapists build better IEPs that make sense, get through struggles that quite honestly shouldn't be there. And it's just something that we need to keep on working through in special education, right? We have these same problems that happen over and over and over. And what I love about Master IEP coaches that come into the program and they decide that they're not only going to use this program, the Master IEP Coach Mentorship, to help themselves, but they're also going to use it to help others. That just means that we're creating a ripple effect. And we need this ripple effect so we don't have the same problems happening over and over. So today, one of the struggles inside of our Master IEP Coach office hours was a Master IEP coach brought to our attention that she has a client that the child is not making progress academically, specifically in reading. We were talking about not making the progress expected. And the IEP states that the child is using a modified curriculum. And, there's a lot of assumptions that happen when we hear modified curriculum. So if the student is, for example, in sixth grade and they have a modified curriculum, that means that they would have a sixth grade curriculum and it would be modified to meet their needs, right? But in this particular situation, the student was not working at their grade level curriculum being modified. They weren't even in the general education curriculum at all. They were using completely alternative resources and learning tools. And to our knowledge, none of it was structured, meaning that it was kind of old school special education. I talk about old school special education all the time, that we need to leave the 1980s version of special education behind. And this is one of those examples. Back in the day, when there was not a lot of research-based materials, the curriculum didn't exist. That's back when I was a teacher in the classroom. I had to piece together things and modify things and use my best educated guess or knowledge or experience to put together a learning program that would work for my students. Now, these days, we have those tools. We have those tools. With just some Google searching, I could name 6 or 7 different reading programs that are specifically designed and research-based for learners who have deficits in reading. It's not the general education curriculum modified. It's a completely different process that has been proven to work to help take a child who is behind in reading from point A to point B. But unfortunately, we see a lot of this still happening in special education. And here's the thing. We could say, who's to blame for this? And there's not really a blame game that can happen in this, because here's the problem. Teachers walk into their classroom and they're given a set of resources, if they're lucky. I didn't walk into a set of resources, and I work with teachers every day. They are not walking into a set of resources on a regular basis. Most teachers have the experience of having to seek out their own resources. This is different than general education. So in general education, and I'm just talking overall, typically what happens is a school district decides, like, we are going to use this math curriculum because it meets state standards. So when you're a general education teacher, you're like, this is the math program that I use. The district said so. When you're a special education teacher, you don't get that. Now, you might have access, and I say you might have access to the same program as the general education teachers. I didn't all the time, but you might not. So how are you going to teach your students math? How are you going to teach the sixth grader the first grade math skills? And that's where Google has just been the go-to of like, well, I'll just Google up a bunch of first grade work, and hopefully you can move the child from first grade to second grade, and we'll just kind of piece these things together. Now, that's the teacher doing the best she can. And she can ask her district admin, like, hey, I need some more curriculum. Hey, I need this. Hey, I need that. But it's typically not heard in the way that it needs to be. So that's where I say parents, you need to start asking the hard questions of what curriculum is being used with your child. to make sure that the teacher has the resources. You get to be the voice, not just for your own child, but for the teacher who needs the tools and resources to help your child make progress. Now, if you're going to go down this path and start asking those questions and figuring out what tools are in the classroom, I want you to talk to the teacher first and say, listen, do you have tools like this? Because this is something that I really need my child to have. And it's not even I really need my child to have. It's the law says so. But I don't like to say that, right? Because that just puts up conflict. But it is true. It is true that in special education, a student is supposed to get research-based curriculum. Okay. So parents, you need to start talking to teachers to find out what the teachers need so you can speak up as a parent, so you can be the voice for your child to say, hey, we need better quality tools. They exist. So like, for example, with reading in this, situation that I was talking about that we were talking about in our Master IB Coach office hours, that teacher could be using, and I don't know the individual child, but I'm going to guess something like Wilson Reading, Orton Gillingham, Slant System. There's a couple of other ones out there that are definitely like a multisensory approach. There are so many different options of what could be used, but instead, most likely the teacher is doing the best that she can to pull the resources from what she currently has access to. And it takes parents and teachers working together to get more resources in our special education rooms and into the hands of our trained special education teachers so we can truly higher the expectations and create more meaningful outcomes for our students who receive special education services. If you're curious about how you can get in on these weekly trainings with master IEP coaches that you can ask your questions, if you're a parent, teacher, admin, therapist, if you sit at an IEP table and you're like, yes, I need to create change for myself and I need to create change for others, if you could just send me a DM and let me know that you need the link to the mentorship, and I will send you that link. You can see step 1 is completing the Master IEP Coach mentorship. And if you decide, yes, this is for you, then you would go ahead and you would come into the network and you would start working. That's what the network, right? You'd start working with us every week, learning more and learning how you can help yourself and how you can help others through the IEP process. So go ahead and just send me that DM, say that you need more information on the mentorship, because we cannot keep going forward, piecing together and giving our students in special education just this experience of a lack of resources. They're out there. We just need to work together to get them in the hands and into the classrooms of the people, of the students who need them most. I'll talk to you guys soon.